it happened retrospectively. I saw it as a kid, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then retrospectively, you're like, wait a minute, he did fucking what?
But it was okay. It was okay because she enjoyed it, and then they became boyfriend and girlfriend, and that's always the way it works out, right?
Same thing happened in 16 Candles, which is like, a female iconic movie where there's another, she's blacked out drunk and she thinks she's fucking her boyfriend.
Oh, Michael Hall, yeah. She's with the blonde girl in the Rolls Royce or whatever.
Yeah.
I just want a candle in my butt.
Wow. So it's my teenage movies that taught me that rape was okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, just look at Sleeping Beauty. Just kiss fucking sleeping women. They'll love it. They'll love it.
You can easily lodge a candle into your buddy's butthole, put him on the slab, and walk him through the forest.
It's not quite as bad as Gilbert eating out, the pie Theta Kappa or whatever, and the girl, the cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love to eat out. Yeah, I remember that.
Well, what was funny was the even before that they did where they installed the cameras inside the sorority house and they're all spying on the taking shower.
Spying in the bathroom.
Yeah, I'm like, well, that's enough to send you to jail.
Yeah.
But at like 12 or 13 or whatever, when I saw that, I mean, I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. Oh, this is great. Sexual assault's so funny.
Oh, hilarious. All of it. It was like Police Academy, all of it.
That's how you get a girlfriend. You just trick her into thinking you're somebody else. And
welcome to year 2022.
Catfish. It's the birth of catfishing, but
he brought her home. She had a cock.
Phil, how do you know? You've been doing that too?
That's where I got my moves from.
Okay. TMI, bro.
Hey, Tony, have you ever had a paranormal experience?
Once, yes. Because Leatherface asked me, and I was like, what? And then I remembered, yes, I did, but I also wonder if it was sleep paralysis.
What happened?
I was staying in South Carolina at this Airbnb, and for days I could not sleep. So this is why I was wondering if it was sleep paralysis. But in the middle of the night, I felt like this entity, this like dark black entity, get on the bed and like kind of like hold me down.
Well, you was in South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's called the old hag syndrome.
What's that?
It's called the old hag syndrome.
Oh, it's common?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of situations where people have that, but they have like an older woman sitting on their chest trying to suck out their breath.
Oh.
Yeah, and
the good old days.
Yeah. So, but you said your entity was a male?
Yes, it felt male. Well, it didn't actually. Maybe it was omnigender, but it was like.
What the fuck is that?
Like pangender. I don't.
Non-binary.
Pan, like Peter Pan. I don't know what that is.
All encompassing.
Encompassing.
Yes.
I gotta look.
I hope you didn't encounter an incubus.
I hope I didn't either. I mean, can you get rid of it if I did? Would it be following me to this day? It was like over the summer.
Well,
Summer fling.
but
an incubus, I'm assuming, is different than a succubus. A succubus, I think, is kind of an interesting archetype, of which
I have a couple of those too.
That's female archetype, the succubus, right?
Yeah, the succubus, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, is somebody, an archetype of female that will just kind of go from male to male and suck his talents and energy, and then embody them for herself, and then leave him.
All three of my ex-wives.
Well, what was the talent you were providing for them?
I don't know.
He's got a Gene Simmons.
They all did pretty well afterwards.
But you do have. Did they all become musicians? Now I see all your acoustic guitars back there.
No, that's just how I get in their pants. Afterwards, the music wears off and the novelty's over.
Good hustle.
My way in.
So what were they succubusing you of? Like, I think usually they're taking something from you. I'm just
my creative spirit. I mean, like I'm an idea guy, and I constantly I wake up and I piss excellence.
It's Kundalini energy.
wake up.
It's that big D energy.
I can understand what you mean by your creative spirit. Yes, when somebody is creative, they tend to maybe attract those that yearn for that kind of connection to the muse.
comedy question for you. Another one. This one's not about women not being funny. This one's
Oh,
about.
cool. Yeah, we're moving on.
Yeah, we're off to a good start on that one.
You bitches
Yeah, right.
aren't funny anymore. We're getting that topic.
Good job, Phil.
Do you think comedy used to be more mean-spirited than it is now? It seems to me like things are becoming more gentle, and you can't make fun of things. I mean, not just the racist stuff or the sexist stuff, but it seems like comedy used to be really vicious. If you listen to old Howard Stern, the further you go back, the meaner it was.
Yeah.
And now he's like Mr. Sensitive.
Howard Stern. Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of what was happening at a certain point is that comedy is always meant to be the rebellious undertone of societal convention. And so I think the mean undertone was kind of a application of reflecting what was actually going on in society, yet was buried under kind of 1950s Leave It to Beaver social convention of how to properly behave. And then I think there was a deconstruction that happened of manners. And so manners were no longer the priority that they once were. And so in the 80s, you have this kind of conflicting end of the 1950s personality type of the all-American family, and you get into this more like capitalist Reaganomics way of being an American, which is more about being a capitalist, less about being like part of a family and creating that like white picket fence suburban identity. And so I think that the meanness of the comedy, especially in the 80s, like remember Andrew Dice Clay?
Oh,
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
unbelievable.
If you go further back, Don Rickle was like king of the insult comics. Don Rickle could like fillet you in a heartbeat and made fun of everybody. It was mean, racist. He got away with so much.
Yes, because there was so much social convention. Also, there was more like people were more religious then, so there was like this like we were more of a Christian nation. So I think it was all about a social rebellion, and that social rebellion happened to be around that. And then I think it changed over time. And I don't necessarily, it's like if someone's being mean to you or roasting you, in a certain sense, they're seeing you, right? It's like you can't roast someone you're not looking at. You have to really look at someone and notice something about them specifically in order to roast them well. So there is an affection that can happen with people roasting each other, because it's like saying to that other person, I see you, I notice you, I'm recognizing your humanity, and therefore I can make it happen. But I don't know. I mean, I think that in current times, what is comedy in the context of cancel culture? I think a lot of people are investigating that and trying to figure out where they stand. Like either people are doubling down and saying like I'm not going to participate in this at all, and this is how I'm going to show my rebellion, and other people are more like acclimatizing and accommodating to it. But I think the whole point of comedy is to rebel against convention and status quo.
Everybody's so sensitive, and it's like I grew up with like Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Red Fox, and man, those guys were dirty as fuck, man. And I used to get in trouble because I had Two Left Crew albums too. So I know I used to was back in the day, and it was funny that I brought one of the Two Left Crew back home to my house to edit some video for and piss my mom off. It was excellent, good times. But it's the Andrew Dice Clay is another one. I mean that was one of my all-time favorites. I watch him on Instagram as well. And it's just a lot of people can't handle, just like look at the movies like what was the Holy Grail, Spaceballs,
Monty
Python, and it's like us growing up, we watched that, so we're Blazing Saddles. We're desensitized on that shit.
Blazing Saddles was awesome.
Blazing Saddles and
really inappropriate by today's standards.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a sarcasm that was happening at a certain time, especially in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, that I do think that, like, kind of like Judd Apatow and his comedy and his brand of comedy made things more into, like, sincere and, like, encapsulating more drama and emotion and a different kind of, and everything became a lot more cerebral. Even Seinfeld or 30 Rock, like all those jokes are much more cerebral than like the Three Stooges per se, or something that was focusing on something being more like absurd or physical. So when things got more cerebral and more emotional, there was a major shift on what was appropriate or considered fundable, like that, where people were putting their money in. I mean, I think that's the other thing that's worth mentioning is films get funded, and so whoever is producing and funding these films is also part of what's driving the comedic taste of the society.
I think they ruined James Bond with all that mushy romance shit too. It's the same thing. They ruin comedy with the romance, and then they ruin the action movies too with it.
Oh, but I used to love James Bond movies. You don't like James Bond?
I love like Roger Moore James Bond, Sean Connery James Bond, but the Daniel Craig James Bond. I mean, the very first one.
I haven't seen those yet.
Well, like
and then came Hocus Pocus 2.
But there's too much romantic horse shit in it. Like suddenly he's like holding this. Oh God, I broke my fucking heart because of this broad over here. It's like, come on.
Well, maybe people get broken hearted, but
save the world, and then that's it. James Bond is every man's fantasy. It's like Magnum PI. Nobody wants to see Magnum get married ever. He's got to be a bachelor, living on a beach, different girl every episode, hanging out with his Vietnam buddies. That's the fantasy. Driving the Ferrari. You know, same thing with James Bond. You're driving the Aston Martin. You save the world. You meet a new woman every new adventure. Not this, horse shit. They ruined James Bond in 1969 when they married him in that one where the Australian played James Bond for one movie too. So I just think romance fucks action movies. Just
like the man who was divorced 3 times. Like, who would have thought that romance ruins media? You're like, fuck romance. Fuck romance in action. Fuck romance.
What's up, Ewok?
How's it going, guys?
All right,
Not bad, man. Yeah, you have that little camera issue like we had with Tony earlier.
Yeah, I don't know what's up. My phone was acting screwy from the word go.
It's that haunted fucking room behind you in that damn fireplace. Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Oh shit.
Yeah, I've had a screwy day. I've been out triaging houses for the fire we've got burning over in Sevier County, and I've still got about 20 more to go tomorrow.
Oh man. So your day is gonna be fun. That's a hell of a Sunday.
It's a hell of a Sunday. Driving around in the country, and luckily none of the houses that we're responsible for are probably in danger. But I still get to drive around and look at them and take pictures and make sure they're still there to send back to the company.
Well, it's definitely good to get you on during our last 5 minutes of the show. So, folks, 5 minutes is better than no minutes.
5 minutes is better than no minutes.
That's shaking big right there.
Wait a minute. Still fang season?
What?
Is it still fang season?
The sign's gone. It's as soon as the first frost hits, it withers up and dies.
I'm watching some of those episodes. You boys play rough when you get on each other's patch of sang. Pulling guns on each other and stuff.
I have had a gun pulled on me before.
That's scary.
But last time Greg Shook did it.
What are you gonna say, Tristan? You're gonna say something.
Okay. Tony, 3 things. Are you familiar with Maggie Castle at all?
No.
No, okay. You look just like her. Are you familiar with Sarah Sherman?
Yeah.
You should collaborate with her.
Great, I'd love to. Yeah, you know her?
No, you just your energy is just like hers. It's just kind of like out there. So like when I was watching his videos, I was like, she's still like, that's the same kind of energy. And then, third thing, at some point, can you check my Instagram story and kind of give your input on what's going on with that? Because I have some shit going on. Leatherface, did you see any of that?
I've been following it pretty good for the past week, so.
Oh, a week. Okay. Yeah, a bunch of So my TikTok just got permanently banned. Like an hour ago, I hit like 2 million views on a video. The one where the big one screaming at me.
Oh, yeah.
So I got permanently banned because the people who are harassing me don't want the videos of them harassing me to be seen. But it's on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, I'm permanent. I went viral and then instantly got banned forever. So, but no, it's I'd like your input on it's some crazy shit. Like you can't help but not laugh because you're not me. But yeah, I'd like your input.
Okay.
It's like some Philadelphia lefty hillbillies.
I don't know what the fuck it
It's the
is,
most
but
craziest fucking thing I've ever seen.
it's horrible.
I've not seen this shit yet. I've got to go check this out.
It's like the hill has eyes in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania. Or
Just
like
hit my Instagram story and it'll just play out for you in order, and you'll be like, "Holy shit!" And this is all within a week.
Okay, I will check it. Yes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
It's going to be an adventure.
Like
She's like, what the hell am I getting into? What, Philly?
block out their faces and then upload it again if you can.
Oh, I would superimpose dicks going in and out of their ears and all orifices. Yeah. I would block their face out. I'd put cocks everywhere.
Nah, they're doing the job. They're doing enough. I just have to sit back and I don't know. Like they're doing stuff where they're like, "We're gonna expose you," and so watch this video. And then they're so fucking dumb in what they're saying and doing that I'm taking the video they want the world to see and I'm helping them. I'm reposting it and I'm showing them like, look what the fuck I'm dealing with. Like it's fucking moronic. But yeah, hopefully it stops soon.
It's some crazy shit. It's interesting.
Yeah.
She's like, what the hell am I looking at? What am I getting into? First of all, by coming in the show talking about taints. Oh, we gotta talk about taints still. All right, so here's my question for you. And you can't Google nothing while we're online.
How many people have you kicked with taint?
What's the average size of a taint?
Well, a man's taint is huge. I don't know. A woman's taint's a very different size.
So let's say a 35-year-old man, a 35-year-old woman, a taint, balls to butthole, that's the ball. How many inches?
Well, I think a woman's is like 2 centimeters.
2 centimeters? That'd be terrible. You'd be in the shithole every time there.
No,
That's why it's so easy to slip.
it's
It's
not.
gotta be more than 2 centimeters.
No,
Leatherface, you just got to be more on your aim.
I don't think so. I think a man's taint is anywhere between 3 inches and 4 feet. I mean, I don't know.
Alright, Ewok, what do you think? What do you think the average taint size is?
But I know they're getting smaller because of all the plastic in the world,
4
by the
feet.
way. The male taint is shrinking because of plastic and the phthalates in the plastic.
Balls shrinking, taint shrinking.
True that bottled water is turning guys gay?
Your taint's shrinking and the dicks are shrinking.
Well, it says the average taint size is 2 inches. So I know. Finally, at least I'm well above average on something.
You got a measure?
Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a huge fucking dirt pad there. Oh yeah.
But
I'm the Ron Jeremy of taints.
You remember Baywatch?
You didn't look up the woman's taint? You only looked up the dude's taint?
Yeah, it's kind of homo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.